Hi, this is Francis. Today, the second will be about the PTSD. There are many different kinds of PTSD, and I will be segmenting what kind of PTSD the veterans have. The first segment would be what kind of PTSD are there? The current diagnostic criteria would be a person has experienced, witnessed, or have been confronted with an events that involve actual or threatened death or serious injury, or a threat to the physical integrity or oneself or others, and his/her response involved intense fear, helplessness, or horror. Intrusive collection. An event is persistently re-experienced in at least one or the following ways: recurrent and intrusive, distressing recollection of the event, images, thoughts, or perceptions. Recurrent distressing the event, acting or feeling as if the traumatic events were occurring. Intense psychological distress and exposure to the internal or external cues that symbolize or resemble an aspect of the traumatic event. Avoidance or numbing. Persistent avoidance of stimuli associated with the trauma and numbing of general responsiveness. Efforts to avoid thoughts, feelings, or conversation associated with the trauma efforts. To avoid activities, places, or people that arouse recollection of trauma. Inability to recall an important aspect of the trauma, markedly diminished interest or participation in significant activities. Feeling of detachment or estrangement from others. Restricted range of effect sense of foreshortened future. Hyperarousal. Persistent symptoms of increasing arousal indicating at least two of the following: difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep, irritability or outbursts of anger, difficulty concentrating, hypervigilance. The last segment of are there any treatments for the veterans? Well, there are still lack of treatments today because not all our veterans want to talk about their problems. It's difficult to determine the prevalence of PTSD among the World War II veterans because the diagnostic criteria were not determined until 35 years after the war. Many World War II veterans with PTSD received such diagnoses as anxiety neurosis, depressive neurosis, melancholia, antisocial personality, or even schizophrenia because the correct diagnosis do not yet exist. For many World War II veterans, PTSD symptoms became prominent in midlife. There have been some questions whether this phenomenon was an initial presentation of symptoms or reemergence of previous symptoms that have been partially remitted. A study of World War II and Korean ex-PALs found that symptoms of International Journal of Humanity shortest higher shortly after the war, declined for several decades, and increased within the past 2 decades. Long delayed onset of PTSD symptoms was rare. Often as one ages, one finds that he has too much time on his hands, leading to more focus on self. Discovering positive leads to introspection and making peace with one's life, but it is damaging as it leads to excessive regret and self-deprecating thoughts. Combat-related traumas is unlike other forms of PTSD in that it involves not only what happens to you, but also what you did. The intent to kill and destroy is what makes combat-related trauma not only psychological disorder, but also spiritual disorder. Combat-related trauma may lead to full-blown PTSD or post-PTSD. Common symptoms are depression, anxiety, guilt, and or shame, preoccupation with war-related, and most of all, anger. During World War II, soldiers were surrounded by bigger field weapons and bombs, which placed soldiers at greater risk. Soldiers placed in smaller groups also reduced social interaction. Psychotics reading selection. Medical personnel were puzzled even though 1 million soldiers were screened. There was a huge number of psychotic casualties in the war. Many soldiers were affected that psychologists thought that psychological weakness had little to do with subsequent distress in combat. Terminology changed from combat neurosis to combat exhaustion or battle fatigue. Combat exhaustion was thought to encompass such symptoms as hypervigilance, paranoia, depression, loss of memory, and conversion. There were some methods such as mental patients give rest in safe areas. Other methods used were administering sodium pentothal to induce repressed battlefield experiences. In 1946, in America, National Mental Health Act was passed, which provided expansion of mental health facilities. In the end, there should be a lot more psychologists to help treat veterans because not many veterans nor even try to tell people about their experience in the war. They seem to close themselves off from the world, and this is nothing to their mentality. This will make them suffer more, and the veterans will suffer as well, seeing them traumatized after so many years ago.